Okay, so I want to tell this story. I read it this had to be like a few weeks ago. So I get my news from Berkeley side. I just sign up for like their little newsletter or whatever, and it just kind of tells you like what's going on in the city. So here is a story. They have like this crime and safety aspect of the newspaper. So it says a student 16 is arrested on suspicion of mass shooting, a bomb plot at Berkeley High School. This is on June 1st, 2022. Police say they seized parts to explosives and assault rifles, several knives, and other concerning materials at the boy's Berkeley home. Like, he's a fucking 16-year-old student. That means he has parents. So while his parents were somewhere, he literally had explosives, assault rifles, and several knives. That's insane. A 16-year-old Berkeley High student turned himself into police this week following an investigation into a tip that he had been recruiting other students to participate in a mass shooting and a bombing at BHS, authorities report. That's crazy. Limited information was available Wednesday afternoon when the Berkeley Police Department announced the arrest, but police say they seized parts to explosives and assault rifles, several knives, and electronic items that could be used to create additional weapons at the boy's Berkeley home during a search May 22nd. The student, whose name was not released by police because he's a minor, was arrested on suspicion of possessing destructive device materials and threatening to commit a crime which will result in death or great bodily injury, according to BPD. As of Wednesday, he remained in custody at Alameda County's juvenile hall. This kid is only in juvenile hall. This kid is white for sure. They would have given a black student like the death penalty. It's just no explosives in a home. Imagine being a black kid, I don't care where you're from, and actually being able to have explosives in your home and your parents not know. Get the fuck up out of here, bro. Like, there's no black mother who that shit would fly. This is a Karen for show. For show. Like, I can't, that shit just does not fly in black homes. The investigation began May 21st when the department got a tip about the boy's efforts to convince other students to participate in a school shooting at Berkeley High School that included explosives, BPD said in a prepared statement. Officer Brian White, Berkeley police spokesperson, said he could not comment at this time as to what form the recruitment took, how many other students have been contacted, or what the possible motivation for the attack might have been. This is insane. Patrol officers worked quickly to get a warrant to search the boy's home, BPD said. During the May 22nd search, BPD also arranged for the city's mobile crisis team to evaluate the teen, according to the statement. The boy was home during the search, but he was not arrested at that time. The next day, investigators from BPD's Youth Services Unit took over the case. BPD said detectives spoke to witnesses, reviewed evidence, and conferred with other law enforcement agencies, including the Highway Patrol, and got a warrant for the student's arrest. BPD also communicated with Berkeley High and Berkeley Unified staff to keep them apprised of any safety critical information. Police said on Wednesday. The student did not attend school in the days that followed the search, and the boy's family retained legal counsel. On Thursday, police went to the student's home to arrest him, but he was not there, White said. 4 days later, on Monday afternoon, he surrendered himself at the Berkeley Police Department. The teenager was ultimately taken to juvenile hall, White said. Now the Alameda County District Attorney's Office is considering whether to file charges on the matter. Plotting to bomb a school, Alameda County is trying to consider whether to file charge. Maybe we shouldn't. It's probably not worth it. Like, there's only been like 70 school shootings this year, so we probably we don't want to ruin this kid's life. I mean, he needs to go to college with Rittenhouse. Like, what? We can't. I mean, we have to think because they retained counsel, so of course, like, his future. We gotta worry about his future. Fuck the people that he was trying to kill. Like, what? White said he was unable to share whether the student had ever taken weapons to school or taken action beyond trying to involve peers. The simple fact of him leaving these items is a concern for us, White said Wednesday. Yeah, the simple fact of him having these items, right? White said the case had drawn particular concern from authorities in light of last week's school shooting in Texas, which left 19 children and 2 teachers dead. That incident followed the May 14th mass shooting at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York that killed 10 people. Yeah. He said police were grateful to those who had spoken up to alert them about what was going on, and BPD still hopes to speak with anyone who might have additional information that relates. The case remains under investigation. For all the parents out there, this is an excellent time to speak with your teen about what it means to stay safe. If you see some type of violence, such as an active shooter, get out of the area or find a safe space. In its statement, BPD emphasized that school safety continues to be a top priority for the department. As part of that commitment, the department also has a resource officer. Let's go back. Assigned to Berkeley High School, who regularly liaises with the school and safety personnel. In addition to all the school resource officer BPD role, all officers have access to a range of training and equipment that provide them the protection skills and ability to rapidly respond to in-progress violence. BUSD says counseling will be available on Thursday. Just before 5 p.m. Wednesday, BUSD released its own statement about the student's arrest and said it had been in very close contact with BPD as the situation unfolded. Throughout the investigation period, we were assured that this individual did not pose an immediate threat to the Berkeley High School community. Superintendent Brett Steffens wrote, in particular, we relied on the expertise of BPD in their assessment of any ongoing risk to our school community after police confiscated what they describe as parts of weapons. We were also in steady communication with police about the whereabouts of the student. BUSD said it also alerted our administrative and security staff about this investigation and, as is our standard practice, maintained close contact with our BUSD school resource officer on the Berkeley High School campus. The district said it will conduct its own investigation into the facts of the case and, based on the evidence, pursue all possible steps, including discipline that will support student and community safety. News of the arrest comes on the heels of a civic shooting at Civic Center Park just last week that wounded a 17-year-old Berkeley High student. We know this incident, as well as the shooting at Civic Park last week, may result in our students and staff feeling anxious and upset. We will have counseling available at Berkeley High School and all BUSD K-12 schools tomorrow. I encourage students and staff to reach out for support. So there's another story. It says, it took 9 days to arrest the suspect in the mass shooting plot at Berkeley High, and police explain why. A BHS student who amassed parts to build explosives and assault rifles got them legally, police said, and was not ready to carry out an attack. This story was updated on Friday to note that the 16-year-old boy arrested on suspicion of planning a mass shooting and bombing at Berkeley High has been charged with 3 felonies. He's been charged with solicitation of murder, making criminal threats, and possessing materials for the purpose of making a destructive device, according to the East Bay Times. Oh, wow, yeah, that's pretty bad. So there's all this other information about, like, the family, like, who said what. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll through this. Berkeley was shaken this week by news that a 16-year-old boy had been arrested on suspicion of planning a mass shooting and bombing at Berkeley High School and recruiting other students to join him. With the community on high alert after a recent mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and Buffalo, New York, some parents and teachers said they felt unsafe with school being open the following day. Many community members also called for increased security at Saturday's high school graduation, even as officials have offered reassurances that there is no continuing threat. In an announcement Wednesday, police said they seized parts to explosives and assault rifles, several knives, and electronic items that could be used to create additional weapons from the student's Berkeley home, May 22nd. 8 days later, the student turned himself in following what BPD called an arraignment his attorney had made with police. In the wake of Wednesday's announcements, many people asked for additional details about the police investigation. Some addressed the Berkeley School Board during its meeting Wednesday night, and others posted inquiries to Berkeley's site on social media and in the comment section. On Thursday, officials were able to answer some questions. The answers to others remain unknown. Police believe the teen was planning to attack for some time next year, though they were worried the recent mass shootings could spur him to act sooner. Police have not yet shared specifics regarding what type of weapon parts the student is alleged to have acquired, citing the ongoing investigation. But a department spokesman told Berkeley side the teenager had acquired them legally and did not have all the parts needed to operate the rifles and explosives. Nothing was assembled, said Officer Jessica Perry. It was just pieces. According to Perry, the student had also tried to buy a gun at school and had been searching the dark web, a part of the internet that cannot be accessed via search engines, where it can be difficult to track a person's browsing history. BPD declined to answer questions about whether the items officers seized had been purchased online, how the teen had allegedly obtained them, and where the teen was from the time his home was searched until the arrest. 9 days from tip to arrest, the police investigation began May 21st when someone called BPD with an alarming tip. A Berkeley High School student was recruiting other students to participate in a school shooting involving explosives. Officers immediately began to try to understand whether the information was credible. The next day, police searched the boy's home and seized the weapon parts. During the operation, police had Berkeley's mobile crisis team evaluate the teen, but he was not arrested until Monday when he turned himself in. Following Wednesday's announcements, many people have clamored to understand the delay. Police told Berkeley side on Thursday that at the time of May 22nd search, they did not have enough information to make an arrest. After the search, which was conducted by patrol team officers over the weekend, investigators with the Youth Services Unit picked up the case. Investigators at BPD typically are not on duty over the weekend. On May 23rd, Youth Services detectives began speaking to witnesses, reviewing evidence, and conferring with other law enforcement agencies, including the Highway Patrol. During that time, police, the Berkeley Unified School District, and the family of the teen and his attorney worked together to ensure that the student would be supervised and that he would not go to school in the days that followed, according to BPD. There's this impression that we left the student out there to do whatever he wanted, said Officer Byron White, and that's not the case. On Thursday, May 26, investigators secured a warrant from an Alameda County judge to arrest the teen. Police went to the student's home that day to arrest him, but he wasn't there, and detectives were able to make contact with the boy's attorney to ensure there was a plan for his arrest. The teen didn't turn himself in for 4 days after the warrant had been issued for his arrest. Both BPD and BUSD have declined to answer questions about where the student was between the time of May 22nd search and the May 30th arrest. The family, for the most part, was cooperative, White said. Police advised BUSD that the teenager did not pose an ongoing threat because officers had confiscated the dangerous weapon parts. And this past week, Berkeley Unified kept schools open, telling only a few administrators about the investigation. According to BPD, no other students were determined to have posed a threat to campus, and no other arrests have been made in connection with the case. The teenager was taken to juvenile hall in San Leandro, where he remains in custody. He was charged with 3 felonies during a Thursday afternoon hearing in juvenile court and will appear in court on Monday, according to the Assistant District Attorney Matthew Gold. The East Bay Times reported that the teen was charged with solicitation of murder, making criminal threats, and possessing materials for the purpose of making a destructive device. The school district has said it's conducting its own investigation into the situation to determine whether there should be disciplinary action. How BUSD prepares for active intruders. Superintendent Brett Steffens said the incident was an example of an effective intervention that stopped a potential mass shooting from progressing further. Informants came, police took quick action. Steffens said what appears to have been a potential plan to inflict harm here on the campus has been averted. Still in the wake of another national reckoning over mass shootings, Berkeley Unified has faced heightened scrutiny of its emergency preparedness. This threat, in addition to an incident on Friday when a 17-year-old boy was shot in the arm at Civic Center Park, just outside of the high school, and a campus-wide lockdown at UC Berkeley in April after a student threatened to shoot staff members, only added to the community's concern. Steffens sent a letter to the community Thursday detailing the safety measures it will take for this weekend's graduation, as well as some of the school district's plans in case of an active shooter emergency. There will be 12 police officers and other BHS security officers at the graduation ceremony, he said, and the same police presence that's been planned for months. In general, the district said it conducts active intruder drills and uses ALICE protocols to prepare students and staff for moments of crisis. During a November 3rd active intruder drill that Steffens details in the letter, students and staff watch a video of what to do in case of a shooting and then practice locking the classroom door, creating a barricade, covering the windows, and hiding away from windows and doors. In 2018, after a shooting left 17 dead at a high school in Parkland, Florida, Berkeley Unified began installing Columbine locks, which can secure doors from the inside in all classrooms. BUSD also initiated a host of other school safety upgrades, including making school perimeters more secure, adding alarm and public address systems, and installing security cameras, security lighting, and window coverings. Steffens said these upgrades have been completed. School security upgrades can keep students safe in the event of an emergency, but the most important thing a school district can do is to prevent mass shootings is develop a threat assessment system, according to a 2020 and 2018 reports by the FBI and Department of Homeland Security. The system is geared toward identifying warning signs of violent behavior and intervening early before an individual gets their hands on a weapon. To be effective, schools need systematic ways of finding and collecting information about threats of violence, according to a report by the nonprofit Every Town for Gun Safety. This can include an anonymous tip line or social media monitoring software, and students should be trained to look out for and report warning signs. A risk assessment team should be able to determine if a student has access to guns. Counselors also play a key role providing information. They may be the first to see warning signs and intervention. At Berkeley High, there's a crisis response team and a safety multidisciplinary team made up of police officers, counselors, and school leaders that would kick into action in case of a crisis. The team's responsibilities are outlined in the school's 2021-2022 safety plan and include a plan for caring for students after an emergency. There's no section in the plan on identifying the warning signs of violence and intervening. Steffens says it was standard practice for school psychologists to perform risk assessments for students, and that the district can compel students who exhibit warning signs to participate in one. A form where students can report intimidation, threats, and violence anonymously is available on the Berkeley High School website. Yeah, that's a nutty story. That's nuts.